Today, we will be graphing systems of inequalities. We will be solving systems of two or more linear inequalities in two variables. This is TEKS Algebra 2.3F. And we will be determining possible solutions in the solution set of systems of two or more linear inequalities in two variables. TEKS Algebra 2.3G. So the rules first to solving inequalities is first we're going to rearrange the inequality so that the y is on the left and everything else is on the right, okay? Then we're going to plot the y line. We're going to make it a solid line if it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, and it's going to be a dashed line if it's less than or greater than. We're going to shade above the line if it's greater than, and we're going to shade below the line for a less than. So our first example is y plus 4 is greater than 3x. So first we want to rearrange the inequality so that the y is on the left and everything else on the right. So first we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. When we subtract it from the right, we are able to cross it out and we are left with y is greater than 3x minus 4. Now when I look at that, I have to think about where's the slope, where's the y-intercept for this inequality. So the slope is going to be the number in front of the x. So in this case, it's going to be a 3. And the y-intercept is going to be the constant that doesn't have the x attached to it. So it's a -4. So we have 3 and -4. Next, we have to decide, is it solid? Is it dashed? Is it shaded above or shaded below? So the symbol is a greater than symbol. So finding the greater than symbol means that we are going to shade above the line. And it's going to be a dashed line. So first we start off with the blank graph. We're going to start at my y-intercept, and the y-intercept is -4. The slope is 3, so I'm going to go up 3 to the right 1, up 3 to the right 1. And the pattern is going to continue until I have enough points to plot it. Now we said this line is dashed. So we're going to connect the dots with a dashed line. So those points are now connected. And we're going to shade above. So which direction is above? Imagine going up. We are shading going up. So that section is shaded. So anything in the shaded area is a solution to that inequality. But now we're going to get into a system of inequalities, which means two or more inequalities. So for my first example of two inequalities, we're going to find solutions to the following system of inequalities. So we have two inequalities here. Now, neither one has y by itself. So I'm going to rewrite it first because I want to solve each one for y. So my inequality on the left, I'm going to move the 2x over first to the other side. And so then I'm left with 4y is greater than -2x plus 8. The next step is to divide by 4, and I'm going to divide everything by 4. Now, 4 divided by 4 on the left becomes a 1y. So we're left with 1y is greater than or equal to, and we are going to reduce those numbers. So -2 over 4 reduced to -1/2, and 8 over 4 reduced to 2. So now looking at that inequality, we're going to talk about the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is -1/2 because it's a number in front of x. And the y-intercept is 2. Now, the symbol is a greater than symbol. If it's greater than, we are going to have a dashed line that's going to be shaded above, okay? So first we plot the y-intercept, and when the slope is -1/2, that's down 1 to the right 2. And we're going to continue going down 1 to the right 2, and we're also going to follow the pattern in the opposite direction, okay? So once you have your points plotted, this is going to be a dashed line. And we're going to shade above. Remember, shading above means we are shading up. So that is that shaded. The second inequality, it's almost ready for us, but we have to divide by -3 on both sides. Now, remember the rules of dividing by -3. Whenever you divide or multiply by a negative, your inequality sign is going to switch directions. So in this case, the greater than symbol, the greater than or equal to, is going to switch directions and become a less than or equal to, and we do have to reduce 6 divided by negative 3 becomes negative 2, and 3 divided by negative 3 becomes a negative 1. So there we have our inequality simplified. Now let's look at that inequality. What is the slope and the y-intercept? The slope is going to be negative 2, and the y-intercept is going to be negative 1. Now it is equal to, so if it's equal to, that means it's going to be a solid line, and less than means we're going to shade below. So first we start off by plotting our y-intercept. The slope is negative 2, so we're going to go down 2 to the right 1. And we're going to continue this pattern in both directions. So down 2 to the right 1. And then we also need to go the other direction, going up 2 to the left 1 continually. Now we said we're going to connect these points with a solid line. Now we're going to shade below this one. Now you're going to see that the shading is going to show you below the second line. Now, where was the overlap? Where did the two inequalities overlap? They only overlapped in that top left corner. So anything in that top corner is a solution. Now, a solution can also be on the solid line, but a solution cannot be on the dashed line. And our last question for the day, finding solutions. So here we have a graph that's already given to us, but it's only the equations that are graphed, because notice there's no shading. So this problem says that the graph of the system shown is y equals 2x minus 3 and y equals negative 3x plus 2. Find the solution set to the following system of inequalities. So which line represents which inequality? So this top inequality, let's talk about the slope and the y-intercept. The slope is going to be 2 and the y-intercept is going to be negative 3. So the first point we know to look for is the y-intercept of negative 3. So there is the y-intercept. So that line signifies the first inequality. Now that symbol, look at your inequality. It's a greater than or equal to. That means it is a solid line because it's equal to, and we're going to shade going up above the line. So it's a solid line, and we're going to shade up. Now, so the other line matches the bottom inequality, but we have to decide, should that line be solid? Should it be dashed? And where's the shading going to be? So for the second inequality, my slope is going to be negative 3, and my y-intercept is going to be 2. But look at the inequality symbol. It's a less than symbol. Less than. So it's going to be a dashed line, and we're going to shade below the dashed line. Okay. So the first point we plot, is going to be that 2, and it's a dashed line. Now we have to shade below it. So now we're going to show you where the shading is below it. So where did the two shaded areas overlap? So anything in the two overlapped areas, those are now your solution. So again, anything in the double shaded area is a solution to the system. And again, solutions can be on the solid line that's next to the shaded area, but solutions cannot be on the dashed line, even though it's next to the shaded area.